Hello, I'm Kristen Oaks-White.
And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of This Week in Louisiana Agriculture. We are at the Marriott on Canal Street in New Orleans for the 103rd Annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention.
And what a convention this has been. More people registered for this convention than any other before, with more than 1,500 pre-registrations.
This also marked the first convention with Evangeline Parish rice, crawfish, and soybean farmer Richard Fontenot as president of the organization. Fontenot says he's proud of the turnout and the issues discussed at convention.
Beautiful thing was we had a full house every night, excess of over 1,500 folks here participating in different forms and fashions throughout the week, and then the Young Farmer and Rancher programs. But when you put all those together, the future of agriculture is bright. The more we can engage and encourage and educate everyone, not only in what we do in production agriculture, but all the lateral things we do within agriculture and extension and research and the like. It's a great venue to put all the agriculture interest, if you will, together and look at opportunities.
Elected officials know the power of Louisiana Farm Bureau's grassroots members who consistently show up to the polls. That's one of the reasons why Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry came to the convention to speak to the voting delegate session. Governor Landry spoke about the importance of agriculture to the Louisiana economy and insurance bills passed during the last session.
These types of legislation helps make sure that we continue to focus, and as we grow our economy, we do it in a way that we're taking care of the businesses and industries that grew this state. That was a commitment that I made when I put my hand on that Bible and was sworn to be your governor. It's not about all the businesses we can just bring to Louisiana. It's how we can take the businesses and industries that have made this state possible, the men and women who have stayed on Main Street and built those businesses through terrible tax policy, bad roads, poor government, and natural disasters. We don't forget them.
Louisiana Commissioner of Insurance Tim Temple spoke shortly after Governor Landry. He says there is still work to be done to bring down insurance rates.
As the governor said, and I've been saying since before I was commissioner, we don't have a problem with the number of claims that we file. We don't have a problem with the expense that costs to repair vehicles. Where we do is the bodily injury and the litigation portion. So we agree on that. I think where we disagree is how do we get there. When we're in a crisis as deep as we are, as I mentioned earlier, I think you should do everything that you possibly can to address it. I know some bills were vetoed last year and this year. I don't think that's the right course of action to take.
Elections were also held during the voting delegate session. We'll have more about that later in our show. Well, it's here at convention where Louisiana Farm Bureau volunteer leaders get to meet their elected officials face to face.
The Public Policy Lunch is a great example of this. It's where 3rd District Congressman Clay Higgins spoke about the importance of his office's relationship with the Louisiana Farm Bureau.
Please welcome these gentlemen.
Louisiana Farm Bureau President Richard Fontenot, Louisiana Commodity and Public Policy Director Andy Brown, and Louisiana 3rd District Congressman Clay Higgins sat down with a packed audience for the Public Policy Lunch, a chance for Louisiana Farm Bureau volunteer leaders to hear directly from their elected officials.
There's no faction of citizenry that I hold closer to my heart than my farmers and ranchers, man.
That kind of candor is something appreciated by Daniel Lyons of St. Landry Parish.
The way it was done with him speaking from his heart, it's not a written script. That's the value of this thing. A written script doesn't tell me anything because I can watch him on TV every day when they interview him. But when he's here and you get him to talk about what he's doing and how he's doing to get things done for us, that's the important thing. We need more of this.
From the stage, Congressman Higgins spoke about updated reference prices and other agricultural policy updates that are included in the Budget Reconciliation Bill, better known as the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
It was quite an accomplishment to get elements of the Farm Bill that normally would have to go through standard appropriation, to get those elements enhanced and strictly focused on agriculture and farmers into the reconciliation bill, which is mandatory spending. Normally, we battle this out in discretionary spending, legislative endeavor through normal appropriations. So now we have an opportunity in the reconciliation bill to get some elements of the Farm Bill included in the final passage of reconciliation.
Our elected officials appreciate and acknowledge the value of our input, that he came down here and it's not for one person to talk to him. He can talk to everybody, and anybody over here, he'll be there to talk to them and answer their questions. And that gives everybody a little bit of a lift, and especially when he was talking about the Farm Bill today.
The legitimacy that Farm Bureau brings to our efforts in Congress to support my farmers and ranchers and agricultural community across the state of Louisiana and the country, there's no daylight between an office like mine that's dedicated to serve the farmer and Farm Bureau. So it's just indispensable.
Congressman Higgins headed straight back to Washington, D.C. following his visit to the convention. Higgins says he will continue to work for the state's farmers and ranchers as budget reconciliation moves forward. Convention is also about celebrating the wins for Louisiana Farm Bureau.
This year, staff and volunteers took quick action at the state capitol to help protect water rights, among other things, when it was discovered in Senate Bill 244. There was also a tax issue that needed to be cleaned up. At the convention general session, ag chairs from both legislative chambers recognized the hard work done by Farm Bureau volunteers to rally for those changes.
What you need to understand is that because of Farm Bureau and the ag centers and Dr. Strain, who is here, everybody collaborating together makes a difference. And if you don't think your phone call or your text doesn't make a difference, it does. And there's proof in 244, because we got home for a long weekend, and I did get the call from Richard, and I got it from Joe, and I started getting it from everybody here. So my Memorial Day weekend was, talking on the telephone, but that's okay. We understand that. But because you were able to do that, an amendment was put on 244 to exempt agriculture as well as your rural water districts. And that's important, because what that bill did, it was the beginning of being able to monitor your water wells.
Every legislative session, there are literally thousands of pieces of legislation that come through. And sometimes things get missed. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes things get missed. But your membership in Farm Bureau helps put people like Joe and Sandy Mapes at the Capitol, making sure that things that we as legislators may miss get seen.
Other speakers at this session included Louisiana Commissioner of Agriculture and Forestry, Dr. Mike Strain, LSU Interim Vice President of Agriculture, Mike Selassie, and Louisiana Farm Bureau Insurance Executive Vice President and State Manager, Alan Barres.
Many farmers and ranchers across the country are anxious to see what comes through the Make America Healthy Again movement, currently being sorted out in Washington, D.C. Some of the biggest impacts could potentially hit the sugar industry, which has been heavily scrutinized over perceived health impacts. At this year's sugar conference at the Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention, MAHA was front and center. Courtney Gain, president and CEO of the Sugar Association, pointed out Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's comments, stating that sugar is, quote, addictive as crack cocaine, and says that oftentimes the rhetoric can be more damaging than policy.
That's changing a lot of the narrative. Even AI, because of his authoritative position in algorithms, it's changing what consumers see, and it's also changing the litigation playground for the future. So because he is the most powerful health official in the United States, when he opens his mouth, it matters. And so the disparaging comments, whether it's on seed oils, and that's what people are trying to say to Congress is not the policies that are the problem, it's the rhetoric and the disparaging rhetoric, and demand for a lot of things is already going down.
The next MAHA report will be released August 12th and is expected to cover the, quote, childhood chronic disease crisis.
In the Rice Commodity Conference, farmers were excited to hear from the Director of International Trade for USA Rice, Kara Janavicius. After years of tough markets for rice, President Trump's new approach to global trade has farmers optimistic for better days ahead. While the rice industry might not see immediate gains in global trade, Janavicius says the current climate of greater market access looks promising.
It's challenging because you might not always see it right away, and you just have to kind of hang in there. I really do think that after the next 4 years, if we're able to really continue the path that we're on, then we'll see the successes that we need.
Also in the meeting, farmers learned about some of the latest research tools the LSU Ag Center is working with to help producers grow better crops to fill that global market.
One of the places Louisiana farmers can learn about those tools firsthand is at the H. Rouse Caffey Rice Research Station in Crowley. This was the site of the 116th Annual Rice Research Station Field Day. It was here where about 200 rice growers came together to learn about the latest happenings in the industry. Rice farmers pay for much of the research themselves by voluntarily giving a portion of what they make from selling rice to the rice checkoff. LSU Interim Vice President for Agriculture and Chancellor of the LSU Ag Center, Dr. Mike Selassie, says those dollars are vital.
The checkoff, since its inception, has always been critical to what we do in rice research. We could not do the research here at the station without those checkoff dollars. Through the years, we worked very closely with the Rice Research Board. They are partners with us to help us know what are the challenges they face, not just in new higher yielding varieties, but what production problems they're faced with pest management for us to work on. And it just gives us the ability to do things that we just couldn't do without.
Louisiana Farm Bureau President Richard Fontenot also attended the annual Rice Research Station Field Day. He was once chair of the Rice Research Board. Still to come on TWILA, Louisiana has a brand new slaughterhouse helping bring the farm to the table.
Plus, we head back to the Marriott for some coveted awards, including Farmwoman of the Year and the President's Award. Stay with us.
You're watching This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
The Farm to Table Conference is a fairly new addition to the Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention, and this year it drew a big crowd.
It shows farmers are looking for ways to diversify their operations by selling directly to the consumers. As TWILA's Neil Melanson tells us, one farm is looking to expand that ability by creating Louisiana's newest slaughterhouse.
Helping farmers deliver goods and services directly to consumers was a big topic here at the Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention in New Orleans, especially during the Farm to Table Conference. That's gotten a little easier in St. Landry Parish here at Timoe's Farms. T took us on a guided tour of the state's newest slaughterhouse.
We run them through the chute here. It's actually a catch chute. It was a lot cheaper than the other way, because I was gonna have to build another chute for the small animals. So we came up with this idea, me and a friend of mine, and we catch them, we knock them, open the doors, pick them up with the hoist right here.
The process has taken 2 years, which doesn't include all of the planning involved. Monica Melanson says even though they don't have a lot of cattle right now, all of the pain was worth the payoff.
We saw the farmers in the same situation. Not only that, nobody wanted to process big cows, especially the older cows, because they have to go through a special process, and the farmers have to sell them for a lower price. We're in this facility. We make sure that we can do that, take care of older animals or big animals.
The farm has gone through its first successful state-inspected slaughter. Monica says they can now turn their attention to helping farmers get their products directly to consumers.
We can offer private labels to other farmers, and I think that's a great advantage that they can utilize to reach their customer as well. We can do custom slaughtering, but with private labels, any farmer can bring their animals here. We can process them for them under inspection, and they can receive the product back and they can sell it directly to retailer or directly to consumer.
Those products can be brought back to the farm or sold through the Timoe storefront, which also carries a lot of other farm products.
We try to help other farmers as well whenever the products that we can sell in our store. We have partnered with a farmer down the road that has Irish potatoes, corn, sweet potatoes.
The slaughterhouse here at Timoe's Farms represents a lot of planning and expense. However, with livestock producers' margins being squeezed right now, farmers are looking to diversify not only for their finances, but to help deliver the farm products to consumers they depend on every day. Reporting from Sunset, Louisiana, I'm Neil Melanson.
Timoe's Farms and their products are open for both new clients and farm tours. We'll show you how on our website at twilatv.org. Every year, half of Louisiana Farm Bureau Board of Directors district seats are re-elected.
This year, odd-numbered districts welcomed new faces. Paul Morris of Sabine Parish will represent District 1.
Robert Warren of Madison Parish will take the District 3 seat.
District 5 goes to David Smith of Beauregard Parish.
Willie Danos of Calcasieu Parish will serve the District 7 seat.
Trace Harris of Livingston Parish will represent District 9.
And Katie Ramagas Nunez of Iberville Parish will serve District 11.
The chair of the Young Farmers and Ranchers Committee is elected every year. This year, delegates elected Aaron Lee of Vermilion Parish. Now, before everyone sat down for elections, there were some big awards handed out this year.
Crowns were passed, plaques were etched, and talent was rewarded, all honoring the best of Farm Bureau. The highest honor given by the Farm Bureau is the President's Award, recognizing the collaborative effort of an entire parish in agriculture activities. Vermilion Parish received the President's Award for an unprecedented 6th time in a row. Brian Seamal is the parish president and gave credit to the strength of his team.
Oh, it feels great. It's just like we've spoken in the past, it's just a community effort. We have so much support from all our young farmers and ranchers and our women's committee and all the committees, and a lot of local support from all the community. And like I say, every year, can't do it without a great Federation secretary, and she keeps it all together, and it's been fun leading this organization for the last 7 years.
The Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award recognizes the state's top young farm couple under 35 years old. This year, Frankie and Mallory Sotiel won the top prize. For them, the farm legacy is a big motivator as they're fourth-generation sugarcane farmers.
This is just icing on the cake to what I already knew. I know how much pride the family has, all the way up to Frank Sr. started it. So just how much everyone puts into Farm Bureau every year, it's just such an honor to be able to bring that, continue that tradition that Frankie's parents won this award 30 years ago. So it's just been just such an honor.
Some days you go to work and you wonder why you're doing it, and when something like this happens, you realize that all your hard work out there is starting to pay off, and it just, it's another little motivating factor to keep you moving forward because it gets tough out there.
The couple receives a $35,000 cash award courtesy of Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company. They also receive an all-expense-paid trip to the 2026 American Farm Bureau Convention in Anaheim, California, as well as other cash prizes.
Other young farmers and ranchers were recognized during the awards program on Thursday night of the convention.
Lafourche Parish educator Randy Lynn Toops won the 2025 Young Farmers and Ranchers Excellence in Agriculture Award. The award recognizes leadership and involvement in agriculture. Toops was a Parish Farm Bureau queen and is very active in the Wife and R program.
Courtney Jaras of St. Landry Parish was named the Outstanding Young Farm Woman for 2025. She received a $2,000 cash award, compliments of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, along with other cash prizes.
Abigail Davis of St. Tammany Parish won this year's discussion meet. Davis received a host of prizes for her victory, including a John Deere 4x2 Gator utility vehicle, courtesy of Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, a trip to compete at the 2026 American Farm Bureau Convention in Anaheim, California, as well as other cash prizes.
Camille Saunier of Jeff Davis Parish took home the top prize in the talk meet competition. In her speech, the college sophomore cited patience, persistence, and faith as the necessities for young people in agriculture.
A host of young talent was on full display this week during the 103rd Annual Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention. A pair of dancers brought a ton of energy to win the junior category, and a singer from Point Capee Parish brought her pipes to secure the senior award. Anna Jones and Aubrey Guidry, middle school students from Lafayette, performed this jazz routine, while 19-year-old Lillian Crane sang Adele's When We Were Young.
The culmination of the Farm Bureau Convention is the crowning of a new Louisiana Farm Bureau queen.
Our 2025 Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation Queen is Miss Emma Louise Dupuy.
Emma Louise Dupree of Grant Parish was crowned as the 2025 Louisiana Farm Bureau Queen. She'll travel the state and the country representing the state's largest general farm organization. First runner-up was Johanna Martin of Lafayette Parish. Second runner-up was Jean Trace of Tangipahoa Parish. And all of the contestants voted Isabella Johnson of St. Martin Parish as Miss Congeniality.
Congratulations to all of this year's winners at convention, and you can find links to videos, including live streams of these events, on our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on TWILA, a clue of worms invade the Marriott to teach kids about agriculture.
Plus, BINGO. Free t-shirts is the game-o. Every year, Louisiana Ag in the Classroom hosts an interactive event to teach children about agriculture.
This year, they got to get their hands dirty to learn about vermiculture, better known as worms. TWILA's Josh Meeks got up close and personal with these creepy crawlers to see just how important they are to our ecosystem.
At the Louisiana Farm Bureau Convention, you expect to see cowboy hats and boots, but this year, it was the worms that stole the show. It's all part of the Ag in the Classroom workshop, an annual hands-on lesson in agriculture designed for kids and their parents.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. The Ag in the Classroom workshop is so great because you'll get participants from every generation, whether it be grandparents and volunteers. Parents, of course, want to know what it's all about, and then, of course, the children want to experience the wonderful programming as well.
Like many parents here, Raquel Manuel is using Ag in the Classroom to keep her kids learning all summer long.
Every ag mom, especially in the summertime like right now, is looking for opportunities for their kids to learn while they're not in school, so they don't have the brain drain.
This year's focus, vermiculture. That's the fancy word for learning about worms.
They picked a great topic. Such an essential part of agriculture, of course, is earthworms. And what do kids and little boys like better than getting their hands dirty?
And getting dirty in a hotel conference room, no less, is exactly what made this workshop memorable.
And it just goes to show you, if you can do it in a gallery room at the Marriott, you can do it in your classroom.
The worms were a hit, at least for some. A few kids were a little squeamish, but for others, the experience sparked curiosity and joy.
When all the generations are able to come together at the Ag in the Classroom workshop and learn together and be inspired together, like, that's why we're here. That's it.
And her son?
My oldest son is really into fishing this year, so the worms were right up his alley.
At the end of the day, Ag in the Classroom proves that sometimes the best way to learn is to dig right in. Reporting for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, I'm Josh Meeks.
Now it's time for this week's TWILA Boost, and for our special convention show, a special convention game.
We challenged everyone at convention to play social media bingo, which was a big scavenger hunt. Check out some of this year's winners. Yeah, one of the things they had to do was get a picture with someone on Farm Bureau staff, and so, got to do a couple of selfies. I think Scott Bickham, though, the field services director, he was the one who took the most selfies.
He was the hot commodity?
I'm sure he was. Scott Bickham's always the hot commodity, right? Well, that does it for this edition of TWILA. Be sure to join us next week when we'll share more from the Rice Research Station Field Day.
Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and you can find all of these stories and more on our YouTube channel. And be sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we put out new content.
For all of us here at TWILA, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.